Welcome back, everyone. It's Fullself Sessions, and spring is here in the air. Wow. The flowers are starting to grow up through the ground. Back again here on a Monday night for a sesh. And look at that, you can even catch some of the sun still going down the window there, but super honored to be able to sit down with an artist who's been really cooking the last couple of years. I've had my eye on.
Just super stoked with all of
some of the creations they've been able to captivate and put out, but also just a super rad person. Everyone, please welcome Chicago's very own Hannah Sandoz. Thank you.
You're welcome.
so groovy
To have you on the sesh.
Yeah, thank you for the generous introduction.
no problem. Super thrilled. Right off the bat,
What was it like making the hike from New Orleans, or just outside New Orleans, all the way to DIY shop?
hi.
Yeah. So 2 hours outside of New Orleans is my hometown, Lafayette, Louisiana. When I was 17, I, graduated high school, and I was
Be young again.
Yeah, honestly, I graduated high school. I went to Oberlin to study music at the conservatory. So I was based in Ohio for 4 years, and that's definitely a critical part of how I ended up here. Because I stayed in Ohio a lot of the time, like my first summer between semesters, I stayed in Ohio. Most of the breaks, I stayed in Ohio. But then my second summer, I interned at Audio Tree as an audio engineer in 2019, and that was kind of the only place that I had lived was Chicago outside of Ohio. And then I had plans to explore more, get other internships, but COVID happened. And by the time I graduated, Chicago was really the only city I'd lived in full time besides like Ohio and, Lafayette. So I decided to move here and see what I could cook up. And I keep re-remembering, like why I came here and getting opportunities to go elsewhere and kind of deciding to stay.
So gnarly and so awesome to have you. Do you ever miss the scene down there?
Yeah, especially right now. My little brother started making music in the Lafayette DIY scene.
Shout out.
Yeah, and there's some other like incredible younger people who are, having house shows and organizing and doing recording sessions. Just a lot of really talented people doing really cool things. And I feel like I'm more connected to the Lafayette DIY scene than I have been since I was like a teenager. And it's awesome. Touring is definitely a part of what's helped me stay connected. But yeah, my little brother is playing a huge part in that as well, keeping me up to date.
What's their artist name?
My little brother's band is called Drive, Dr. Drive. They just put out their first single,
Check it.
Just Talk Christ.
Yo, that is so dope. I'm definitely going to check that out. It's actually funny. My partner Liz and we really want to check out New Orleans.
Yeah, you should
and
go.
And we've never been. And so we're thinking about like later this year, maybe taking that journey. We love road trips. We've done like the Montana. Let's go to Glacier National Park.
Montana's
Let's
wild.
Try, oh, yeah. It is wild.
Yeah.
But just like love long drives. So we're considering like checking out New Orleans, and so
it's an easy drive.
I would love to connect with some maybe of your musician friends over there
totally.
when I go down there.
Yeah. Fun. I can give you band recs, like venue recs and stuff if you want to go out see some music.
Yeah, because Chapter's been telling me I got to take this on the road too.
Oh so yeah.
Gotta listen to the boss.
Yeah, he knows the road.
He does. He really does know the road. So super gnarly. It's so awesome, having you on. I listen. I'm a big fan of just like listening through albums. So Year of Alone was what I started on.
Yeah.
And yeah. Ghostly.
That was a big one.
Vibey.
That was a big one for me. I feel like The Year of Alone was the first album I put out where I became aware of someone listening to my music other than like my immediate friend group. I got a write-up in a magazine called Listen Core that's actually based in the UK. And they did like a full in-depth song-by-song review of that album. And so that was sort of the point at which I realized like I do want to be making music for people other than myself. Like this is something that I want to take public and continue to make public. But yeah, it was also just a very inventive album for me. I was really playing with marrying a lot of what I was learning in my studies at Oberlin. Like I studied classical electronic music, so making a lot of really weird experimental like musique concrète, like kind of noisy ambient music. Figuring out how to marry and apply a lot of the concepts and a lot of the like repertoire that I learned as a composer at Oberlin with my songwriting practice. Because I love songwriting. I love telling stories, but I also love making weird electronic music. And I think The Year of Alone is kind of how I realized that I want the kind of songwriting I do to be like a gateway for people who don't think they like weird electronic music or who maybe aren't aware of liking weird electronic music into enjoying that kind of palette.
The frequency is casted, and I feel it, and it caught me. Really magical. I love. Thank you for diving into it a little bit there.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's a beautiful record. But I love, like, even what you're saying about, the creating leading up to it. It's like, it did take work to even get
there.
Yeah.
it sounds like. Was there anything you did to prep at all, like the environment or feeling for Year of Alone?
No, The Year of Alone really followed this sort of practice that I have for most of the releases I make, which is like I'll write for a certain period of time, and then after a certain point, I just sort of know which songs are making it to the next record, which ones I'm going to keep in my back pocket. And as I start recording them, that's generally in that incubation phase, that's generally where I come up with the name or the concept. The Year of Alone is a really interesting record because I started writing those songs before COVID, and I finished writing and recording them in the middle of COVID, or like, I guess I should say COVID lockdown. COVID is not over.
The great hiatus.
Yeah.
As phased on the show here.
Throw phased it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a hard time, and that's where the album title comes from, is like I was spending so much time alone. That summer, I was living with my boyfriend, who I had been dating for 3 months because they kicked us off campus, and I was like not about to go live with my parents in Louisiana. So I was staying with my boyfriend in this house we rented, and part of the way through the summer, he decided to go back to Philadelphia and not come back. So I spent the rest of the summer like alone in our big empty house, surrounded by like his stuff. And even when I like moved into, a house with my very good friend and collaborator, Isaac Shallot, shout out to Isaac, he lives in Philly.
Shout out. Yeah.
He's making amazing music over in Philly. Even after I moved in with Isaac, I still just felt so alone. And I think that a lot of people could relate to that during COVID, like relate to that feeling of, being right next to someone you really care about and still feeling kind of desolate spiritually.
But then to have that open space and then them being gone and you kind of left in that space, like that's tough. It's got to be tough.
Definitely inspired a lot of the writing.
Yeah, and with songwriting, is it something that you were practicing earlier on? How long was it, from picking up a guitar, was it before you were like songwriting yourself?
Yeah, I've been writing songs my whole life. Like since I was a kid, I would like make up little songs, and then in middle school I got really into writing poetry, but I would always get stuck because I would like make up a melody for the poem and then not really know what to accompany it with because I sort of played the piano, but I hated playing it. And then
Were you taking lessons, piano lessons?
I took piano lessons for 2 years. Once my mom like saw me learning things by ear and realized I was into it, but then taking lessons like kind of ruined it for me. So I stepped away, and then
discipline.
Middle school I wasn't taking lessons in anything. I was just in like percussion for the orchestra, middle schooler orchestra. But once I got really tired of acting and decided to quit acting and quit visual art and learn how to play the guitar. I was probably 13, had written a couple songs that I didn't know how to sing or really play for anyone. And the rest was history. Like I fell in love with playing the guitar. I pretty immediately started like writing songs to chord progressions that I was learning in other songs I was writing. So I pretty immediately started stealing chord progressions and projecting my own images and
girl talk.
Yeah, my own stuff onto them. And it was really nice for me to find a way to express my love for songwriting more so than like writing it on a piece of like notebook paper and then like bringing it out at gym class and singing it a cappella for
gnarly,
my friends.
Hannah. Super gnarly. I love that.
Thank you.
And with creating like that free, like it just feels super free where you're coming from with it. But I can tell it took years of experience, like years of, kind of crafting out your sound on the guitar and kind of picking it up. As a player myself, like, playing since 13, it's always been kind of push and pull as far as like learning scales and technicalities and stuff with that.
Totally.
Where are you at with that when it comes to like scales and knowing your theory versus like kind of letting the chaos of not knowing where you're going when you're creating?
Yeah, I find that music school has taught me so much about Western European classical music theory, which when we say music theory, like most of the time that's what we mean. Like there are so many other ways of tuning instruments and there are so many other scales that are used to create music. I would say probably more music is created outside of the 12-tone equal temperament scale. But yeah, learning Western European classical music at Oberlin and learning that particular theory has really helped me to sort of explain and justify creative decisions I was already making and or tweak creative decisions I was making that didn't sit quite right. So I really see it more so as a tool meant for analysis and understanding and comprehension, and maybe even manipulation, more so than a tool for creation. I found that, most of the classes I took, composition classes I took that were oriented towards theory as like the main discipline, for example, counterpoint classes, I found them to be so stifling. They were like, math problems and like not the fun kind of math problem. And yeah, any sort of stuff like that, I just found really got in the way of my creativity. And that's totally separate from technical skill. Like I need to continue playing my scales on guitar. I need to continue, playing arpeggios and like little finger brain teasers. I need to continue singing and warming up my voice and training my voice in order to move down this path that I've carved for myself. But those things feel separate from music theory. Those things feel more like creating and shaping a certain sound and maintaining a certain sound.
Love that. Is there a ritual you have that you go about when it comes to your craft?
Wow, a ritual. I don't know. I mean, I think it just depends on what I'm doing. I always warm up my voice before I sing because I tend to sing pretty high. Like for my solo stuff, I sing at the very tippy top and the very bottom of my range.
I gotta say right off the bat with that, I absolutely love big green chakra, big heart. Love all the pitch correction and pitch like phases and everything
Thank
you're doing
you.
throughout your work. Oof,
Thank you.
I love it. But with the what I was getting at, with the practice and the ritual and everything, bringing up all the time, the artist way is like one of the things I love diving into with other artists, because that part of the book, the morning pages, which was like a ritual to kind of get the creative brain going and just kind of running and just like free flowing, I was just wondering, it's like for you when you're about to create, is there anything like you do,
creative ritual. I was thinking like performance ritual, like, oh yeah, I always drink a cup of cayenne. No, I'm like, fuck all that. I'll drink whatever I want or water. Like, so this is a practice that, like many practices, like I'm sure writers have morning pages, I sort of fall in and out of depending on like my mental health, how busy I am, how in touch I am. But since I started writing, since I picked up the guitar and started, marrying this new like 4-chord memory I was building upon, right, with the sort of lifetime of songwriting that I had been brewing, once I started combining those two things, the way that I would sort of create and the way that I would keep track of what I was creating is a cassette deck. Like I thrifted a cassette deck at Goodwill, which was really helpful because I got in trouble a lot in high school and I would get my phone and my computer taken away.
No.
Yeah, I was definitely a mischievous, troublemaking kind of kid.
Were you playing games during class?
No, it was what I was doing outside of class that I was getting in trouble for. So just a little bit too much fun to be had in kind of the middle of nowhere, Louisiana, Lafayette has a pretty central hub, but where I was living, it was like out there.
Fair enough.
And so, I had this cassette deck, and so I would sit down and I would write a song and I would record it on my cassette deck on like an ongoing tape that I would have that was just like diaries. So I would either record a full song once I finished it or like some ideas I had, and then I would write them in like my song notebook. So I had the cassette deck and then I had the notebook. And, as I started getting into open tunings, that's when I would start writing the tunings in the notebook. And like both of these, I guess, tools were a way that I could keep track of my songwriting practice while keeping it separate from my production practice, keeping it separate from my recording practice, and not needing those extra barriers to stand between me and my songwriting practice. Because it's like, if your computer gets taken away, you can't sit down and record something. So yeah, stuff like that is I've kept up with recording tapes and keeping a tape diary since I started playing guitar and singing 11 years ago. I still have all of my songwriting notebooks. Every song I've written that got written down is in those notebooks. And the very first musical release I did was on my old project, Sandoz, which is what I wrote under for the first like 3 or 4 years, basically until I was in college. The very first Sandoz release that I put out on Bandcamp was cassette demos, just ripped straight from the cassette, maybe like a little bit of mixing and mastering to make them more listenable.
So raw.
Yeah, it was just straight from my diaries, 15 tracks.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Man, when did you know, like, I'm just going to keep it, I'm just going to take it from the tape? When did you know you're like, I'm going to do it? That's how I'm going to release, like...
I think pretty much instantly.
Cool.
Even throughout this process, like I had known and been sort of crafting this next release. Like I had the standouts, I had the star pupils, I guess, of the album's called Cassette Demos. I had the star pupils of cassette demos kind of set aside, ready for the next thing. And I don't ever think there was a doubt in my mind that I would just release the demos as cassette demos. One of the earlier influences I had when I started writing was Daniel Johnston, and a lot of his music is just ripped straight from a cassette deck. And I loved that sound. I worshipped his music, still do in a way. And I just think he's like one of the coolest, most inventive artists of our time. Rest in peace, Daniel. So
much fun, Daniel. And Hi, How Are You? Will live in infinite. The Devil and God Raging Inside. Have you ever seen the documentary?
Yes, of course. Multiple times.
Honestly, I probably watched that way too many times. Way too many times. Yeah. And that was one I would put like there's a few movies that I have of mine that I literally will put on a repeat, you know, and that was one that I was repeating as an artist. Like, it was so important to me to know Daniel because his creative brain was just so unique and special, and his big heart, and then, but also the illustrations and the colors once I saw his cartoons and as well, everything that was integrated within his world. And it really made it beautiful to me because I was like, this is someone who like fully embraced their whole art world and flipped it inside out and like built a world and then kind of cultivated a scene, you know, following after that, that really rose the authentic artist.
The authentic artist.
I feel in ways, you know, so cool. You love DJ. I love DJ.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the day that Daniel Johnston died. I called my friend and I was like, dude, did you hear? And she was like, yeah, so fucked up. She came over and we like got out a big piece of canvas and just like cried and listened to Daniel Johnston and just painted with India ink all over this canvas. It's my friend Ollie Bentley, who also makes music. She's out in LA right now, so shout out to Ollie. But yeah, I mean, that was a very pained day for me because I had, you know, loved Daniel Johnston for so many years and loved his music and really hoped to maybe see him perform one day, even though it had been a long time since he was well enough to perform. But it's, you know, even if you know it's unlikely to happen once someone dies, you really process that in a different way. So yeah, I just saw his mural in Austin too. I was there for South by,
That's so cool.
anti-South by, and I visited the Hi, How Are You mural.
I love that. And congratulations on
Thank
that
you.
run, that South by run. I saw that leading up to this interview. You were out and about doing that. And I was like, gnarly.
It was
awesome,
crazy. It was a
shredding it
wild
up.
time.
Super cool.
Thanks.
The guitar riff on Wolves.
Oh, yeah.
Where did that wicked son of a gun come from?
Yeah, so I got really into tapping, I would say my senior year of college. I had a friend, I was always into Midwest emo, like, you know, since I started playing guitar. But I had a friend really, like, just, like, give me the full rundown of first wave, second wave, third wave, fourth wave emo. This is screamo, this is scrams, this is, you know, the difference between metal and hardcore. Like, someone really gave me a master
Honestly,
class.
I probably still need to read it myself for that.
Yeah.
It's so fast.
But once I learned that's how they were playing guitar so quickly, it was like the tapping thing, I really started to get into it. And when I first moved to Chicago, I kind of had this vision of putting together a rock band. And so I wanted to like play this difficult riff. And like I did play Wolves live for a while. I don't know if I ever played the riff perfectly. Like every time I would play it, I would fuck it up somehow. And so I just stopped playing the song because I would get so nervous that my hands would shake when I was playing it, and then I would fuck it up even if I was trying really hard not to. The harder I tried not to, the more likely I was to mess it up. And so
it's just how much voltage that riff has.
Yeah.
You can't always dish out that level of voltage.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's also just hard. None of my other music, I wasn't tapping in any of it.
Yeah. So
it was just this one song that was trying to use a technique I didn't really know very well.
Gotcha.
But that's the cool thing is in the recording, like, you can really, I just comped all the takes until I had like the most epic, awesome, correctly played version of Wolves. And there actually are a couple mistakes that I liked that I kept in those comps. So I don't even know if I could play it the same way I did in the studio back in the day.
Happy mistakes are cool.
I love happy mistakes.
When you were recording in earlier years, did you have like a name of the record label you would start eventually, or did you have a name of like the recording company when you were first starting out?
Not when I was first starting out.
Okay. Can I just rat myself out?
Yeah, go for it.
Self out.
Yeah, go for it.
When I was 13, like the very first thing, and it's not going to be this, hence Full Self Sessions, but it was Pink Pony Records.
Oh,
I was just like
nice.
super jacked about ponies at the time. And,
ponies are
when
awesome.
I first started playing like pop punk riffs and stuff, first started playing guitar, I was like, Pink Pony Records, like that's got to be the name. That's got to be the name of the record. That was like my first idea. And it's just
loved
funny because I
ponies
love
as a kid.
hearing people's
Yeah.
first ideas for like band projects or
Oh,
record
totally,
labels.
totally.
It's so fun.
Yeah, I didn't have an idea for a label with my Sandoz project.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Starting the label, so dope.
Yeah. I really Snart Snart Records was just a field on DistroKid where they're like, "What is your label?" And I was like, "Oh shit, I guess I have to put something." I didn't want to just put like Hannah Sandoz Records. And Isaac Shallett, who I mentioned earlier, who was in my college band Wall Dogs with me, he and I had this inside joke, which was Snart. And like, I guess like we were a family of Snarts. Like his name on Facebook was Art Snart for a while, and my name was Snart Snart, and then our drummer was named Fart Snart, all just like our Facebook names before they really cracked down on fake names. So I was like, oh, I'll just put Snart Snart Records. And after like seeing it so many times on my own Spotify page and seeing it around, I just grew really, really fond of that name, especially once it kind of stopped being a joke and started being like, like a special memory of college and of my friend group at the time. I really started to visualize it being a record label one day. And I didn't really have the money or the time or the know-how or any of that to make it an actual record label until right now. I had a little bit of money to start Snart Snart Records. I had been making tapes, and I feel like at this point I know what works and what doesn't in designing a tape, and there's still so much more that I can learn, but I'm starting small. It's just a tape label, so we sign one artist at a time, we make them tapes, they get free tapes, we get tapes to sell, and that and touring is how I'm funding the label. So the label is me and I am the label, and everything Hannah Sandoz financially is happening through this label now. It's just that I've started to actually invite others to participate in this year, and I got like, the LLC license or whatever. So
that's super gnarly, and congratulations.
Thank you.
It takes a lot of energy, and there's super gnarly. There's a lot of moving pieces to articulating all that, and I love it. I really love everything you're doing. Dream Song was such a vivid trip.
Oh yeah,
like that one literally tripped me out.
Yeah, Dream Song is wild.
When I listened to that one.
Yeah.
Was there an influence or inspiration for that one in particular?
Yeah, definitely. I was listening to a lot of Mount Erie when I wrote the guitar part. And I think it was based on a dream, like a dream that I was underwater, and just like I had a dream that really related to how I felt in waking life. I was really, really depressed when I wrote Dream Song. I was in a relationship that was not going well, but it's like I was in a time in my life where the worse the relationship is doing, the more motivated I am to like stay and work on it and just make it better, and it was just all like such a disaster. And Dream Song is one of those that I sat down and I wrote it until it was done, and I played it a few more times, changed a couple of lyrics, and then I was like, that's the song. I'm ready to record this. It didn't have much of a percolation time. It's also a weird one because I think I only played it live like maybe once or twice. I never played Dream Song. I didn't have much of a direction for it sonically. I really had to play with that one in Ableton before I felt like it had a character of its own and a like sonic language of its own. I really didn't know what it wanted to be. I had no idea. And it still felt completely empty until I went to this show at VCR. Shout out Chris Lee, RIP VCR.
RIP for real.
Yeah, and it's a massive
please,
loss.
Moment of silence, but also shout out to Chris Lee. Moment of silence for VCR.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I was at VCR and like listening to this conversation, like listening to a sea of conversation around me, feeling like very alone, but in a good way, like feeling really alienated from everyone in a way that was like, I don't know, kind of like godlike. Like I felt like I was up on my own little cloud, like just looking down, watching everyone, listening to all of their conversations. So I took out my field recorder and I just took a recording of everyone talking and this sort of like ambient chatter of, you know, drunk people like laughing, talking, goofing off, being silly, really grounded dream song. And I think brought all of these ideas that I was just sort of throwing at it, trying to get something to stick. I think it really brought all of these ideas down into being somewhere human. And that was a very difficult song for me to work on.
The background conversation isn't a particularly thought out or seeked out texture of words.
No,
it was literally like
it was just
random
the place and time. Yeah.
And it sounds like more like just like a pub, right?
Yeah.
Was it like
It was just people outside smoking behind VCR. Yeah.
Like, and that one of my favorite artists in here in Chicago, Chris Lee.
Yeah.
Shout out. He is such a warrior. I love him through and through, them so much. They like the first time, one of the very first DIY houses I had been to.
Yeah.
I had met Chris shortly after kind of diving into the music scene. And to see them record and what they were doing live in live settings and recording other bands and capturing that. And then also just like being a part of the community. And,
he's a real
in
historian.
Such a bright way.
Yeah.
I was so influenced and looked up to them so much.
Yeah.
So, you know, a huge reason I'm here today. Super influenced by Chris.
Yeah,
you know?
Same.
Such a true warrior, for real.
Totally.
Congratulations again on the write up. You know, through the reader.
Oh
I
yeah,
did,
thank you.
Dive in a little bit there.
What a great
That's
way
so
to finish
cool.
out my year. That made me so happy.
Yeah, that was super awesome.
Yeah.
How did that kind of all come to be, or was it just like whoop?
Yeah. So Devin Marshall texted me and he was like, hey, I want some assets from you because I have an idea. Can we call soon? And I was like, oh my God, yes. I knew what it was for because he's written for the Reader for like years now. So I called him and we had a little interview, a little chatty chat on the phone. And I sent him I think I had like some semi-old, or I think I had some recent press pics, but it was like my only press pic. So this was a time last year that I was sending like the same press pic to everyone who asked me for pics. It was like definitely a dry period in terms of like, you know, press assets. But yeah, I sent him my press pic and we had this one little interview, and then it actually came out while I was in Louisiana. The Reader article came out while I was visiting my family for Christmas. And so it was awesome. Like I was just like surrounded by family, getting to share this really important accomplishment. My second write-up in the Reader so far. I guess third if you count like I have one little mention where they were just like, oop, and Hannah Sandoz did this. But yeah,
Did you guys
I'm so
put
grateful
on
for them.
American Idiot at home to celebrate?
What's that?
Did you put on Green Day's American Idiot at home to celebrate?
You know, I didn't, but I should have. It's a very celebratory album.
That's so cool that you were with your family, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
That's wild.
special. It helped me get through the hate comments. I got some hate comments from...
Really?
I'm not even going to say who, but a well-known hater in the Chicago music scene who seems to have had a difficult time in life, had some really interesting... I think they were like misgendering me. They were like, does she still sing with in-ear monitors even though she can't sing? And then he commented like, he was like, why is the Reader covering shit like this when they could be covering the Chicago blues? And I was just like, you know what? You're right. They should cover the Chicago blues for like the 10 millionth time because nobody's ever written an article on that. Like,
How do you feel about haters? Do you think they're necessary?
the haters make you famous. The haters make you yeah, no. I've been putting videos of myself
like it is.
on the internet since I was 7 years old. So I have heard everything. I've gotten the nicest compliments I'll ever receive on the internet already. I've gotten probably the meanest insults that I could think of on the internet already. So it's like I've heard it all. I wouldn't say I'm like quote unquote ready to be a public figure, but I do think that I'm well prepared for whatever the next step in my reception and like broadening my audience is. Because I read that and it was definitely like annoying to have pollution in my comment section, but at the same time, it's like when someone singles you out and finds things that they don't like about you. And I was just shocked that this guy I played a show with 3 years ago fucking remembered that I used IEMs. Like, he might think I'm a bad singer or whatever. I don't even think he really thinks that. But like the fact that he remembered me and remembered details from my performance means I'm doing something right. Like the haters will pick something and notice it. And it's like, okay, you're hating, but you see me and you're going to remember that. And it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, like you're the one who has the power when someone else is taking time out of their day to interrupt what you're doing. And I just think I think, we were talking a little bit about addiction and struggling. Everybody has an addiction to something, I think, deep down. And my addiction, like, might be control. Like, controlling how people see me is such a big struggle for me, like letting go and just sort of letting people think what they want. And I think the internet is a really great place to practice exposing myself to losing control, because people are just gonna say whatever the fuck they want, and you have to just kind of let it happen. You can't get too invested in it. You can't go through a purge and deleting every comment. Like, you just kind of have to let it roll.
Let it roll. Let it roll. Let it roll.
That's so important. Thank you for touching on that.
Yeah,
with, like,
totally.
Visibility.
Yeah.
Visibility, and then being seen as you and as you are, but then also being seen through your art. There's two levels to it, but it's so important, that part of it.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. It's so hard to put yourself out there in a world where we are in fear. We are sitting in walls of frequencies of judgment, and there's a lot of fear still.
Yeah.
And moving through that, through the sake of rock and roll and for love, cutting through that frequency, it's not easy.
No.
And it takes balance, and it takes work, and takes understanding. So you really are doing such a beautiful job, Hannah.
Thank you.
I really, truly commend you.
Thank you.
I want to ask, like I said, I dove a little bit into the interview, but, when you were talking about content and, rolling out content and such, how did you go about, like the preparation for rolling the content you were about to put out? And like, how did you go about like, choosing what you put out on TikTok versus like Instagram? I know it's a silly question, but I really am interested.
No, it's not a silly question. It's something I think about kind of a lot these days.
Okay.
So my TikTok started out as
Whoops.
we've been contacted. Started out as by an outside
The
force.
aliens are here. One moment.
No worries. My TikTok started like many people's TikToks in 2019, just like a silly place to post dance videos and goofy things. And I didn't really start to see it as a tool for promoting my music until, I don't know, like really recently, probably like 2022. And even then, like I was super lazy with it. I was pretty sloppy with it. And I'm not saying those things to like, denigrate myself. I just wasn't focused on it. I was focused on other things, and I was letting it be this really free, fun thing that I had zero investment in. And then I don't really remember what clicked or what changed, but a couple years ago, I started to take it more seriously. I started to really think about, all of the different ways I could come up with an excuse to post my song on TikTok, and not just saying like, this is my song, like, this is my song, like, this is my song. You should listen to it. Because nobody wants to, engage with content that's just like, there are so many people who want you to listen to their song, right? How do you get someone's attention and make them stay for something else? So I started making these TikToks, and I was really trying to make them every day because the algorithm favors consistency over quality of content. And anything that did well, I would post on Instagram Reels after a certain point. So I had TikTok was kind of my testing ground where I posted maybe my more like embarrassing or like quote unquote cringeworthy content because I've been on the internet since I was a young child, and I'm very like comfortable being obnoxious in front of a camera, but I was like not sure if I wanted to take that identity public to Instagram yet, where I had like more followers and followers who actually knew me. But yeah, after a while, I started realizing that like my stuff was doing really well on Instagram. It was leading me to get a lot of followers. And I did ultimately achieve virality again. I have a video with almost 2 million views and 200,000 likes that I posted last fall/winter. And that was really the moment that I realized like posting random shit, first thought, best thought is such a vital tool. It's a little risky to not be constantly censoring myself, especially to that part of me that wants control, right? It's a little risky to have, oh, that'd be a good idea for a TikTok, and then record it, post it on TikTok, post it on Instagram, post it on YouTube Shorts. But having this practice of, you know, making content and posting it has really amplified my reach, like a ton. And I wish I could say I was too cool to play that game, but I'm not. You know, I want to broaden my reach, and I will do anything I can do that aligns with my ethical and moral values in order to do that. So if it's like, if I have to be silly in front of a camera and say stuff that people think is stupid, like I will do that all day if it means that my career is going to become more viable. And it already has, like the choices I'm making with social media right now make it easier for me to tour, easier to collaborate with other artists, and have gotten me work. So I love that for me, but my process definitely needs some alignment. The way that I'm doing it right now is kind of like, oh, fuck, it's 6 p.m. and I still haven't eaten dinner and I haven't made my TikTok for the day. Okay, what am I thinking about? Okay, weird, slowed down thirst trap, put words on top of it, put my music on it, send it out, hot off the presses. And sometimes I have like an idea that I'll write down and then I'll do it the next day and it's like planned out. But really, that's like the most strategic that my content creation practice goes. If I were operating from a place of strategy and trying to prevent burnout from content, which I have been feeling very burnt out on making content lately, I would do it the way that you're supposed to make content is you're supposed to take a day or like half a day, set out all your outfits and then just record TikTok after TikTok after like just make a bunch of them, record a bunch of B-roll, you can put text over, and then you just have this extremely broad asset library that you can either, pick from each day to make your daily TikTok, and it's all already recorded. You don't have to, oh, my hair, it's a bad hair day and I have to do my eyebrows. None of that every single day. You just have a library of pre-made content, or even some people go so far as to schedule out their content in advance. So they'll sit down, they'll make a month's worth of content, they'll schedule it all out on Metricool, and then it's just set it and forget it until you just take a full day at the beginning of the next month. And so that's what I would be doing if I had the like organizational skills and the wherewithal and like, an extra day to just sit down and figure out how the hell to use these tools. And I totally could, like, I don't think any of that is outside of my capabilities. It's just not really been a priority. My priority is touring right now, and I love that. And it's like, if I can just kind of pump out a random TikTok at the end of the day, I'm going to keep doing that until it isn't viable anymore. People love it. Like a lot of my TikToks that I've just been like, oh, that's a good idea for a TikTok, record it, put it online. Like, those are the ones that go viral. Seriously. Like, I've never had a TikTok that I planned, wrote a script for, sit down, get really any, like, amount of significant attention or any, like, above average attention.
Did it ever take a while, or how long did it take posting kind of more frequently before you were kind of comfortable with being in front of the camera and posting like that? Because one reason I bring that up is because, one, what you're doing is super authentic, where you're kind of speaking from the self, the full self, the true self, in the moment, through tech, in the moment. Like, and I love that you're being so real, and I love like all this stuff. You're so creative. But with that, how do you kind of it takes energy, you know? And so it's like, if you're going to do it in the moment, vice versa, like plan it ahead of time, it still is going to take, you know, so much time. So how did you even at first like dedicate the time to like, I'm putting it out, and then with that, how long did it take to being comfortable in front of the camera and then being on the internet?
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly, I was, so one thing about TikTok is that everybody tries to capitalize off of everybody else's ideas. So there are probably like thousands of TikToks where someone is like, stop scrolling. If you aren't getting any traction on TikTok, this is one tip that will help you change that overnight. And the one crazy tip that, you know, social media influencers don't want you to know is that just post every day. Just post something. Post like a video of your coffee. Just post something every day. They're like, it doesn't have to be good. It can literally be a duplicate of
like
something you've already posted. Exactly.
No
It's
what.
just do
No
it every day, no
excuse.
matter what.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that. And then I was in this weird place where I was like, okay, some of these can make it to Instagram, but some of them I have like shame around and I don't want to put them on Instagram. And then I think I really broke out of that like shame box once I realized why I was like keeping content off of Instagram that I would put on TikTok. And I think it was because it was too silly. And I want people to take me seriously and take my music seriously. But when it comes down to it, like, I don't take myself as seriously as I want other people to take me. And actually, maybe it would just be more fun for everyone if I reveal that I am deeply silly. So I think like maybe a year ago is when I started like really posting kind of everything I make on Instagram and just sort of saying like, fuck it. If people think that me posting silly reels on Instagram makes me less serious of an artist, then they should just wait a year and come back and see how many followers I've gained and what I've done with that time, you know?
Sweet, yo. Super cool. Thank you for breaking that down.
Totally. It's something I've been thinking about a lot.
How hard it is to create.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, too, though. That's why we're talking about it. So it doesn't have to be hard. It can be easy. It can be free and liberating. You know, the joyful pursuit.
And I'm lucky that I've always loved being silly in front of a camera. Since I was a kid, I've always liked it.
That's so awesome. I gotta say, I really, 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 really dug the phaser and the ending of Whole. Like, because it drags out a little bit. But
like the tremolo or
the tremolo.
Yeah.
Dude, I love it. I love tremolo and phaser. Super dope.
It's one of my favorites.
What
that I've made.
is it? Thank you. That one specifically, I think I listened to like a few times. I'm a huge fan of like frequencies by, but also like tones stuff to like kind of calm the mind and connect the spirit and the divinity between the divine masculine and divine feminine and being able to be present within the full self. I know how much practice it takes, but with the 13 shows, you did 13 dates in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
How? Like, how did you roll that out, yo?
A lot of mercy and support from the people I met along the way. I literally did like a hero's journey, like circle graph, you know, like the Odyssey follows the hero's journey, and there's like a circle for like plotting out a storyline along the hero's journey. And my West Coast tour from last October follows it to a T, like the mentor and the like, you know, you lose everything halfway through. And then, but yeah, I mean, I booked that whole tour myself last year. Following last year's South by run, I just realized that was my first time ever touring alone, was last year's South by run. I was touring with Sylvia before then. Shout out to Sylvia.
Shout out
Ivy. But yeah, that was my first time touring alone. I loved it. I was obsessed. I was like, maybe I'll do the West Coast one day. Maybe one day. And then I got home and I'm like sitting in front of my email and I'm like, well, why can't one day be October? I have 6 months to book this thing. Like, let's just see what I can do. And I got 13 dates booked without having ever played in the majority of those markets.
That's awesome.
It was crazy. I was trusted to play some pretty big rooms, not in like terms of capacity, but in terms of like, kilowatts. San Francisco is like pretty well known in their like punk and rock scene. So yeah, I was just so lucky to have all that trust from these talent buyers who had like a weirdo from the Midwest reaching out to them, asking big favors. All the people who helped me along the way, like helped me carry my gear in and out of venues and like let me sleep on their floor, like fed me meals, like are what made that possible. And right before I went on tour, I have chronic pain, so I'm pretty much always in some degree of neck or back pain, like muscle tension and aching and stuff. But every now and then I have these absolutely horrid relapses where I get like really bad nerve pain in like my skull, like it's like lightning like through my skull. And that happens maybe once a year or so, and it happened right before I left for that tour. So I was freaking the hell out because it's like driving is already really hard on my body. But I was like, I don't fucking know if I can do this. So I was like going to an acupuncturist, getting a massage. I was like literally trying everything under the sun to help speed up my recovery from this nerve pain episode. But luckily it happened like a week before I left, and that's sort of like historically been the recovery time before I can like be a functional person and do my things again.
It's funny how something big like that happens right before
Dude, yeah.
you're leaving for tour. Like,
and the other time it happened was right before a tour too. I think it's my body like, just like giving me a kick in the ass and being like, yeah, you can do that, and you can do it injured too, and you can do so much more. And it's not that I would push myself past an injury that I knew was unsafe, but really when you have nerve pain, there's not shit fuck you can do about it. And it's not really because you're doing something wrong a lot of the time. It's just, like neurons firing. In my case, they can't find anything wrong with me. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. Resting makes it worse. So when I left for that tour, I was like shaken, terrified. I had my mom fly out just to like give me hugs and buy me nice food and help me get groceries in my house. I had just said goodbye to my mom and started driving to Minneapolis for my first date. And I just remember like sobbing in the car, having no idea if I was capable of the thing that I was about to do after promising everyone that I would do it, and saying in my out loud voice that I was going to do it and it was going to be great. And the last night of tour, playing at Sleeping Village with my full band, we had like a reunion for the last date. I was just like, I was crying so hard as like we played the last song. I sang Perseverance, and then my bandmates came and hugged me, and I just like, sobbed on stage as I was like wrapping up my cables and getting everything off the stage, because I think that like it's always emotional ending a tour, but I don't think anybody in that room really knew what it meant for me to overcome my chronic pain, overcome so many of the mental health things I was struggling with at the moment, and to really have the courage to get in your car and drive away being fully unaware of whether or not you're going to succeed and whether or not you're capable of it, and having really no guardrails whatsoever aside from like my financial privilege and the support of my parents. Like I have a savings account and I have parents who love me and like won't let me sleep on the cold hard ground, if they have anything to do about it. So I had those tools, I guess, but I really didn't know if my body would be able to complete that. And I was so lucky to be able to say that it did. I treated my body with a lot of respect and a lot of extra care on that tour and on all the tours that I go on. So I think that was a huge accomplishment for me in a way that I don't think many people who know me will ever truly understand. And it was a big moment in my relationship with my body as well.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What do you do for sleep throughout the road?
Yeah.
Because that's a huge one.
Yeah, I struggle with sleeping a lot when I'm on the road. I have a mild form of narcolepsy called idiopathic hypersomnia that make it, I would say, difficult but not dangerous for me to drive long periods of time. I have a limit of about 8 hours, which I think most humans do. So I occasionally take Adderall for that when I like have a longer drive or know that I didn't have a good night of sleep.
Yeah.
And that leaves me so jittery, and it makes my existing muscle pains so
It's
much
like the
worse.
second cocktail they put me on.
Yeah.
Is Adderall.
It works as long as I've had like a decent night's sleep, but it causes a lot of side effects that I don't really love. So I'm trying to like, step down to caffeine when I can. But yeah, that gives me insomnia sometimes. Like I'll wake up at 4 a.m. and my heart is just racing and I'm like, nothing's even happening. I'm literally chill. Like I'm chill, guys. Like just be chill. But 9 out of 10 times when I'm on tour, I'm sleeping on someone's floor. Like I bring a sleeping pad and a sleeping bag and I just say like, hey, by the way, I'm so excited for the show. Do you know anyone who would let me crash on their floor? I have a sleeping pad and like a bag and I'll be gone first thing in the morning. Like 9 out of 10 times people are like, oh yeah, totally. You can stay at my place. Or like, yeah, I have a lot of roommates, but like this guy's place you can totally stay at. Nice. And then every now and then I'll luck out and they'll be like, we have an air mattress. We have a guest bedroom. And I just feel like I'm like at the fucking Ritz-Carlton in somebody's
like
guest
a personalized Airbnb.
Literally.
So awesome.
So yeah, I pretty much rest my head anywhere people will let me for free.
Yeah, sleep schedule's tough because that's a huge one for health, and it took me a while to get that one, as well as, some other things that need to be attuned, when it comes to the body and the physical plane while we're still here experiencing, the physical body plane. Like, you got to take care of your body, got to be able to sleep. And then you also do have to be aware of like your muscles and how you are feeling throughout the day, which for me, yoga, like,
oh yes, I love yoga. I always bring my yoga mat on tour.
To that connection, so important.
I have to say no to a lot of fun things on tour to get the sleep going. People will be like, "Oh, we're going out to this bar. You want to come with us?" Or "Oh, we're going to goth night at this abandoned church."
Goth night. How does one say no to goth night?
Goth night.
Yeah, fuck.
It was
That's
very
the real
difficult.
question here on Fullself.
It was extremely difficult for me to say no to goth night at the abandoned church. I was like, there's nothing more that I would love to do. And this was Dallas too. I was like, Dallas knows how to party. But I was like, I know I have a long drive the next day and I still had a few nights left of performing and I was like, I just have to do the responsible thing and politely decline and go to bed. And I'm always glad when I do that because ultimately like FOMO is pretty temporary, but like the feeling of having successfully completed the shows to the best of my ability and treated my body with as much respect as possible lasts forever,
Damn. Yo. I love that. That is so fucking pro.
Thank you.
I love chopping it up with you. This is awesome. But I do, want to break away. I think this is a good time to split just so we can rock out and get to the live session. Then we'll come back and round it up.
Let's do it.
But until then, thank you so much.
Yeah,
for
thank
coming
you.
through. This is truly
Really
been a
excited
blast.
about this.
Everyone, links below and check out Hannah's music, art, and thank you all for tuning in. Peace, love, and rock and roll.
Cool. Sounds good. Let's do it.
Yeah, my favorite. Free Palestine. Summer song. That might be the best I've ever played that song.
That was easy. Your perception.
With all my judgments and my virtues, I'm still crawling on the bed like a child in a nightmare. Maybe I'm the one that's crooked, and all the signs that point to guarantees that I believed. They're just wondering about me like the day they tried to leave. All the pictures that I've taken of the people that I loved all got up behind the notebook that you started thinking of. And the time it just keeps ticking, sticky goosebumps on my neck. Apologize for the mistakes that I thought I had to finish. All the while words are hanging like the stray cat on my lawn, stuck on sandpapery tongue. Finally found them, but you're gone. Perseverance on the porch swing feels like only yesterday, but I left my rosary in Ohio and it's so, so far away. didn't have to feel important like the ways we went inside, living lonely in the bedroom, making handfuls of my pride. Making messes in the morning, drowning stressors in the sun. If I really think about it, I could be the only one. I could be the only one. I could be the only one. Thank you.
My friend Mikey back in Ohio,
Shout out, Mikey.
Taught me all
all about emo. Yeah, shout out Mikey.
That was one of my projects, Musical Mikey.
Really?
Sally, what will it be tonight? Sally, will we drink tea tonight?
Shout out when MySpace when MySpace just came out. Like MySpace just come out.
Yeah.
That
that's
was
awesome.
the first couple emo tracks I released. Was
Yeah.
for Musical Mikey back then.
That's amazing. There's so many emo Mikeys out there.
It's funny.
So thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Blessing
Yeah.
the room with that performance.
My
That
pleasure.
was super cool. Let's dive into the flip side. Yeah?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's flip it over.
Hello. And welcome in, everyone, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. All 13, all collective, all creative, inspiring frequencies here within as far as without, here gathering within this present. So exciting and super electric it's been this evening with Hannah. Thank you so much for that live rock and roll set. Truly, really
You're very
blessed the
welcome.
room. Was that the lineup you were running through most of the touring?
Yeah, that's the set list that I've played both on the South by, anti-South by run that I did in March, and then the 2-week West Coast tour that I did in October. I've played the same set list really since probably like last July, and there have been other shows that I've played locally with, other newer material, more stripped back, more experimental stuff. But this is like my golden goose, like my tried and true. These are the 7 songs that I'm playing, really, really well right now, and that I'm going to be taking on the road anywhere that it's very important to me to perform to a high level. That's where I'm bringing the set list.
Love it. What do you think of the number 7?
I love the number 7. Lucky number 7, 777 is like, jackpot. I like that it's 2 really basic units of 3 and 4. Like, I think it makes sense that those should be combined, and it has all the power of 3, the Trinity, and all the power of 4, the square, So, yeah, I like numbers. I do.
There's several ways you can appreciate 7, really.
Absolutely.
It's a great beach house record.
Oh, I don't think I've
like,
listened to that one cover to cover.
7.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, 7 chakras.
Yes.
It's a good number.
Yeah. What color do you think 7 is?
That's a great question, because if we were going through the frequencies aligned through chakra they would estimate to be violet, like purple,
yeah.
ultraviolet, very high frequency
Yeah.
purple, but the ninth is then pink, so then, I don't know. What do you think?
7 for me is brown. Like when I
Okay.
visualize it in my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because 7 would be where the third eye, and then kind of where you then meet the crown, because then the crown would be violet.
Yeah.
So yeah, 7 would be purple. But within 7, like just as a number, I think I see it's like very just like
Yeah.
bright, for me at least.
Totally.
I don't know if it's the association with the Bible and being traumatized with
Sure.
the severals and the number
Oof.
7s
Yeah.
through context, but at the same time, though, I think there is a religious quality or spiritual quality, rather, not religious, with
Yeah.
7 that is fun.
Totally.
Also, the Seosin song.
Yeah.
Shout out to Seosin. But I love your music, and that was super cool. That was super, super awesome live.
Thank you.
Wicked set. I love the GaUzY alt folk term.
Yeah, I stole
When
that
did-
from a guy on Reddit.
That was so GaUzY.
Yeah, I played a show at Sleeping Village, and every now and then I'll Google myself just to see if there's any like press I've gotten that I didn't know about. Because it's like if some tiny writer writes about me and doesn't tell me, like I want to be able to promote their stuff or like give them a leg up, put them on my page. So every now and then I Google myself just to kind of see what people are saying and if anybody wants to be amplified. And I saw a Reddit post that somebody was like talking about my show at Sleeping Village. And then in the comments, someone had written like a full review of the show. And this is a show that happened, I think, like in July. I was opening for Ben Saratan, actually, who's fucking awesome. That was such a cool set.
Rippers.
And yeah, we got a review of that show. And someone described... I've been claiming alt folk for a while because, right, it's like the folk approach to storytelling, but I really feel like my harmonies and my electronics and stuff make it into this alternative sort of world that doesn't necessarily fully respect the folk tradition. Like I don't want to claim traditional folk when I'm not playing it. So alt folk feels like a better fit for me. And then he described us as a gauzy 3-piece. And I was just like, that's exactly right. It's gauze. It's thick. It's thick. It's thick. But it's soft. It's not imposing. It's thick and lush and welcoming and maybe even like caretaking medicine. I don't claim that my music is medicine. Go to the doctor. But also, I do want my music to be a place where people can rest and feel held and feel comfortable to experience things that are scary.
That's so powerful.
Thank you.
And such a beautiful intention
Yeah.
to, have.
Music
when
that holds you
creating.
while you cry. I really I want people to be able to feel things that are too big for them to feel alone when they're listening to my music or watching me perform.
I love that because the frequency and within your music, there are moments that are unmatched. You can't put to word.
Yeah.
There is a feeling, but vibration or
Right.
tone,
Right.
whatever you will. But it's moving, and it's so important that you're doing that. I love it, and you're really touching people and making the world a brighter place.
Yeah.
Just rock and roll, yo.
Thank you for seeing it.
Yeah. With the line, I want to go back to the old house.
Yeah.
The old house again. I want to go back to the old house.
Oh, totally.
The old house again. It really hit or pierced during that time in the record when I was spinning. Where was that sourced? Where did that come?
So I was really afraid people would think it was a Smith's interpolation because that's not at all what it was. But
Take me out.
yeah, literally, I like the band, I like the songwriting. Morrissey is just a detestable human being. I cannot stand him, but The line itself is talking about a traumatic childhood experience I had in probably the only house that my family lived in Louisiana. We mostly lived in apartments or in like, my grandma's house, but we had our own house for several years before leaving for a little while for my mom to get her graduate degree. And there were, traumatic things that happened to me in this house, some of which my family knew about, some of which they didn't know about, some of which happened while I was sleeping in a dream state alone without any other people there. And some of them, were unfortunately like caused by human beings who I trusted and was around. But I think growing older, like Leaving the Party of Early is very much a coming of age album because I was living on my own in a big city after graduating college. It was really the first time that my personhood and my functioning was tested by the world in a real way. And I Want to Go is about like growing into my full self and realizing that I do carry this trauma that was given to me by someone who carried that trauma that was given to them. And, sort of realizing that I wanted to go back and I wanted to be in that room and see it with my adult eyes and be in that place where I wasn't safe and be able to see it, from a version of me that does have control over my fate, that is safe, that isn't being put in unsafe situations, right? And so there was really just like a desire to literally go back to that house where the first, I would say, instance of trauma or abuse in my life took place and just lay eyes on it and just stand in that room and look around and just feel what it's like to be there. And I even went so far as to like ask my mom, like, what was our address? And I do believe the house was demolished and something else was put up. I don't think it's there anymore, which I think is just such a powerful, like, image for me. Like, the house isn't there anymore. You won't get that, closure that you were imagining when you wrote the song. But I think that like going back and seeing the house is not a physical thing that we need to do. It's more of a spiritual thing that we need to do, like looking in ourselves, finding out where that hurt comes from and finding ways to heal it so that we don't have to pass it on any longer. I'm really, my 20s, I think, is about learning how to break cycles of trauma and abuse that I've experienced throughout my lifetime.
That is beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to hear that for yourself. Mental health is so important here.
Yeah.
And I just, being someone aware of it and struggling with it for so long, it's
Sure.
so important to talk about and to
Yeah.
even shout out some skills.
Absolutely.
And like being able to be in acceptance, being able to be present,
Right.
being able to allow yourself to feel the feelings without allowing judgment or resentment or shame or guilt and shame get in the way. And in a high speed, fast paced environment the world is trying to run versus what the human body and our own autonomy and us as beings that carry actual souls and life, like it's so important to connect back to the ground and the earth and realize like maybe some of this mental stuff is all coming up because we're not super grounded as a community, like as a one full, like,
I think we've
loving-
lost a lot of the care that we used to receive from people outside of our immediate circles. And I'm definitely no stranger to mental health. Like, I will say in my out loud voice proudly that I'm in intensive outpatient treatment right now for trauma. I've been aware that I'm a traumatized individual for at least like 10 years, and I haven't felt like I had the time, the space, the money, the self-respect to put myself in a place that is solely dedicated to healing that until now. And I feel really lucky and privileged that this is something I'm able to do. It's been very difficult, both logistically and emotionally, and I'm still kind of trying to figure out how to make it work. But last week was my first week in IOP, and that's the first time I've ever sought like a higher level of care. And I'm sharing this because I do really want to share that like anybody who needs that also deserves it and should be in those rooms. And
100%.
like there's nothing wrong with needing more help. In fact, it's really, really good to get more help when you need it.
Yeah.
It saves the people in your life who you're, trying to love a lot of heartbreak when you can figure out how to hurt the same, right, but suffer less.
Huge.
Yeah.
Like really beautiful and vast the awareness I was going to say you have of it.
Yeah,
And
thank
it's really
you.
great. I one of the first films I got to work on or write a song for was Eyes Upon Waking.
Oh,
Shout out
cool.
Jen Scott, super rock star. But like, it was all about suicide awareness.
Yeah.
And like the film cultivated that.
Yeah. Is it available online?
Yeah.
I'd love to watch it.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You can watch it online
Cool.
now. Eyes Upon Waking. But
Nice.
it's dense, and thank you for being real with it.
Yeah, totally.
appreciate
My pleasure.
What again with the New Orleans?
Yeah,
what do you
yeah.
recommend? Like going down there if
my
I
gosh.
ever get to travel down there, like the music scene down there. What are some good DIY spots, venues? places to
I'm not super tapped into their house venue scene. I know that Siberia throws a lot of great shows. I just played at OK Bar, which was awesome. OK Bar is a wild place. But yeah, it's super cute inside. Everyone who runs it is really nice. And it was a very DIY feel. Like we all ran sound for each other. So OK Bar and Siberia are two venues that I would love to recommend. I would also love to recommend the bands that I just played with in New Orleans, who are Shmoo and Aubrey Jane Mack. Some people that weren't on the bill that I'd like to shout out are Keaton Schiller and the band Butte. I think Butte, Montana,
that's such a cool
Butte.
name.
But yeah, all of these bands are super talented people. I was really, really lucky to share a bill with, Shmoo and Aubrey Jane Mack. And next time I get down there, I'd love to see if something could work out with Keaton and Butte, like timing wise, it's so hard to get everybody like in the same room sometimes. But yeah, those are two artists that I also am like, I'm friendly with Keaton. I don't really know Butte, but I love their music, both of them. Cool. And so, yeah.
Well, shout out. Mad respect. What's the longest, I gotta ask, what's the longest time you ever spent in a swamp?
Wow. I mean, I've spent all day at swamps before. I don't think I've camped overnight in an actual swamp just because it's pretty hard to put a tent down. I mean, you could do it if you canoed out and then you set up a hammock and you had like a hammock tent, the way that people camp on the side of like mountains or whatever, just in trees instead. But I'm a little too afraid of spiders for all that. Like,
are there like a lot of spiders in the swamp?
There's spiders, there's bugs, because every ecosystem needs scavengers and needs whoever's going to eat the debris and break it down to keep the cycle going.
True.
So yes, there are lots of bugs in the swamp, lots of mosquitoes, especially. So no, I have not camped in the swamp. I have camped in swamp adjacent areas, but I've spent all day like out on the water, on the bayou, or in Lake Martin, which is my favorite swamp in Louisiana. It's the closest one to Lafayette. So basically anybody who grows up in Lafayette has been to Lake Martin, has been, canoeing around the lake, has been listening to the birds and watching the birds because it's a bird sanctuary. So there's lots and lots and lots of cranes and heron's, not heroines. There's lots of cranes and herons there that are just like really beautiful to look at and are heroic in their own way. And so, yeah, it's just really special to me, Lake Martin. And the recording that I played in Moss and Furling, my first song with like the birds and the bugs and stuff, that is a field recording that my mom took for me in Lake Martin on one of her own little like canoe adventures. So
that's so special.
Yeah.
Wild.
I've spent a lot of time in Lake Martin.
How often do you go camping?
I go camping at least once a year now. When I was in college, I only went camping once in all of college because I think like growing up, we went camping with my grandparents a lot, and then they kind of went camping less, so we went camping less. And then in college, like I knew people who went camping a lot, but I kind of didn't have any money for a lot of college, and when I did have money, I needed to work so that I didn't run out of money. So everybody's like, oh, we're going camping, we're going backpacking, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to work, but like, go have fun, whatever.
How do you keep all your voice memos organized?
Oh my God, I don't. It's such a mess, and I have like thousands of them on my phone. Every now and then I have to take them all off, and I just put them on a hard drive and forget about them. But the cassette diary really helps ground that, because things have to be at a certain level of like gestation before they go into the cassette diary. So that's like where the more finished versions of like a voice memo could be like a 5-second recording of like an idea for a TikTok or something. And then, yeah, I tend to just kind of discard them, but I also archive them like very
If you don't mind,
obsessively.
Can you break down how that idea landed for you again, the cassette demo?
Yeah, totally. So I was in high school and wanted to make music, wanted to record my music, but wasn't, trying to sit down with GarageBand. That's what I was using at the time. I wasn't trying to sit down with GarageBand every time I wrote a song, especially because I had sometimes limited access to my phone and computer, all because of my own behavior and my own choices. But yeah, I got a cassette deck at Goodwill, and I was so inspired by Dan Johnson, music he was making, that I just started.
He really knows how to make an organ sing.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just started recording like little songs that I'd write on guitar and singing directly into the, shoebox cassette deck. And I never really stopped after that.
Keep fucking going.
Thanks.
Keep fucking going.
I love cassettes.
It's so dope. I love what you said about the importance of opening your business, being proactive and accountable to your music and like art, even though it can come across like as like selling out or trying to mend to a topic or like, in an era where, kind of there is still judgment, lingering, how do you rise, with an open mind and go forward yourself with that?
I mean, at the end of the day, we all have to sell out. We're living under capitalism. If you don't have money, you will die. And I think that is such a tragic state for the human condition to be in. And I say that as somebody who, compared to the rest of the globe, has a lot of money. But I feel this pressure, and you feel this pressure, and we all feel this pressure to make money and to survive and to, live our lives. And so I don't really think that there's anyone who isn't selling out. It's just a matter of what you do. I really respect people who don't want money and its many evils to touch their creative practice. And I think that for many of those people, they are privileged in a certain way, because if you have something that you love doing enough to make money off of it, that doesn't make you miserable and doesn't make you hate your life, like, that is a very, very special thing. And for a lot of us, like, we don't really have that. Like, I don't have a secret love for computer programming or accounting. I love computers, but working with them and working in IT, it made me really miserable. So I quit the job that was, paying for all of this, and instantly had brand new problems overnight, but problems that I'm ultimately like happier with. And I have to work so much harder than I did before, like working multiple part-time jobs, being a touring artist. I just think that like anybody who says I'm selling out or says someone's selling out, anybody who thinks that there's a certain moral, ethical, or creative purity associated with avoiding monetizing your creative career, I think that that's a judgment that they ultimately have on themselves. I used to feel I wasn't judgmental, but I used to feel like, oh, I don't want to monetize my art. Like, I want my creative practice to be separate from my job, and as long as I have a creative community to share my art with, then I will be happy. And then I had it, and it made me miserable, and I really had to look inside myself to see what that was motivating me to keep those things separate. And ultimately, it was fear. It was fear. Because the majority of us who are trying to, pay for our lives with our passions will not get there. And in order to even begin to think about how to do that, I had to admit that I wanted it. And that was so scary. It felt so vulnerable to, say to the world, I don't just want to be playing songs in my bedroom. I want to be playing them at fucking Madison Square Garden. And I probably never will, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop trying and stop believing in myself and stop visualizing these moments, right? These moments where we say, we've made it, and then the goalposts move, and then we've made it. And, I think that it's a chase. It's definitely like a really scary thing to do. It's a cliff to jump off of, and you have to have a lot of faith in yourself to do that. So I think anyone who would judge me for the choices I'm making probably has a difficult conversation they need to have with themselves about if they're happy with the decision they're making. Because ultimately, anybody who's, happy with themselves, who's truly confident, truly likes themselves and what they are doing, doesn't have judgment to cast.
Again, beautiful. I love what you said.
Thank you. I've spent a lot of time thinking about it.
Yeah. Within the full self, I try to find energy or, labels. Not labels. Labels is the wrong word, but like just a few stems to pull from. And what came through the full self when, creating is like present, mindful allowance.
Yeah.
So it's like allowing the present. So what that is to me is like being present without judgment, being an artist for the longest time and also recording to analog. There was one like an expectancy for me to get it perfect every time, knock out the take, but then also like a pressure that came with that. And so like I think it's so important to stay free, but in order to keep that energy rolling, it does come with self-awareness.
Yeah.
And that is only tapped into through looking at the self.
Yeah.
And like doing the work. And it sounds like, you truly have been doing that. The mindfulness is like, just being mindful, being aware, and then present are the allowance, that third part. I don't think we open up to allowing so much as humans. I think because of the fear and it's hard to open ourselves up as people in a world where we are afraid to be judged. And so that part of it, just being allowing, like one, it can be like the frequency of stream, like abundance, allowing projects to roll through, but also just being open-minded.
Totally.
Yeah. So I think about it as well, like, so much the process of creation, like where does it come from? Where do the ideas come from? All of that jazz. Do you think tone exists?
Tone?
Yeah.
Like the color of a sound?
Like tone, like in guitar tone. Or technically in the records.
No, it's scientifically quantifiable. It's totally scientifically quantifiable. I mean, tone is basically how the frequencies that make up a pitch, how they vibrate in a space or a pickup or whatever the resonator is, right, in a room. It's the way that these wavelengths are shaped. Like so if you looked at them on an EQ plugin with like a visualizer, you would see the peaks and valleys of, there's a lot of low end in this one, or there's a lot of high end. And the summation of all these frequencies that make up a wavelength and their different balances and how many low frequencies there are, how many high frequencies there are, that's what shapes tone. So tone is really like the purest, when you take the purest form of a wavelength and then you put it into context, that is tone.
So tone is like the source of the wave.
Tone is what happens to the wave when it comes out of the thing. So the tone of my voice, I can do tone right now. Like I'm speaking with the same pitch, but I'm changing the tone of my voice because I'm changing the size of the resonator that I'm speaking with. Right, exactly. So pitch can stay the same and tone can very much change because it's the shape of the resonator, and this is a resonator, and that is a resonator, and
So it does exist.
Yeah. It's it's scientifically
Is
quantifiable.
it safe to say on Full Self Sessions number 30 that we finally cracked the case that here, like DIY Shy here, right here in Chicago, like it's done. Tone does.
Yeah, I think we
100%
can say that
exist?
we've cracked the case. And another word for tone is timbre, actually.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
timbre. It's a really interesting word. Timbre is like the shape, the color of a sound, like the things that you can't fully write down on sheet music, like how one piano sounds different from another, or how one of your, snare drums sounds different from another. Like timbre is really what that comes down to
great
after
word.
pitch. It's a really good word.
Timbre.
Studying weirdo electronic experimental music in college taught me all these strange and interesting ways to think about sound that takes it off of the 12-note staff out of the sheet music.
Yeah. How many notebooks do you have?
Wow. At least 10, but like
Currently, 10 currently?
some of them are tiny little thin ones, and some of them are literally like, I have a journal my dad gave me that's got to be like 600 pages, and it lasted me 3 years. But I mean, I've had a journal and kept a journal that I write in very regularly since I was like 15. So I have like 10 years worth of journals, and by the time when it's my time to leave the world, whoever has to deal with all my material possessions and my shit is gonna have like such an incredible archive of my life. If they're willing to read 20,000 pages of what happened to me, they are gonna know exactly who I am.
So you do journal.
Oh, yeah.
You've been journaling.
It's so important. It's so
It really is.
important.
It
I
really
really
is.
I love electronics. I love computers. That's why I get so much joy out of what I do with my solo project. But at the end of the day, in order to keep that love going, I have to detach. I have to write in notebooks. I have to read physical books that I can hold in my hands. Because it just really stimulates a part of the brain that working with screens doesn't feed. It's much more grounded, I think, than working on a computer. So I always keep a physical journal. I would never just have like notes in my phone unless they made books physically impossible somehow.
That's the realist. How do you take on and off the manager hat?
Oh, it's hard. It's hard. And this all comes back down to the like, are you selling out thing? Because I think ultimately, like, monetizing your craft isn't selling out. What's really selling out is doing something that you don't believe in. Because it's like, I could believe in anything that I do for money, or I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Even if it was like the silliest meme band in the world that I was singing for, it's like, yeah, I believe it's really funny, believe that it's important, believe that it will pay my bills and keep me fed. It's like, I believe in everything I do. And the manager hat gets really tight sometimes. The manager hat wants to optimize and streamline and do things like spending a whole day making content and then scheduling it out so I don't have to think about it for the rest of the month. And while I'm a very efficiency-driven person who loves to look at systems, loves to look at operations and break them down and figure out how to make them work better for everyone involved, I do think that there's an element of surrender in this that makes it makes it sustainable for me, because at the end of the day, I can always market a tour better. I can always, plan a release schedule more carefully. I can always improve anything I'm doing. But if you spend your entire career improving what you're doing, you're not going to have very much time to do it. So I think it's really just listening to myself, listening to the thoughts in my head, listening to my body, the way that my body reacts when I am doing manager things, and like picking a time to just say, all right, fuck it, I let this go. Whatever it's going to be like.
Not to chime in too quick, but it does sound like you're tapped into the intuition.
Yes, absolutely. Every manager has to have a good intuition. Every successful artist has to have a good intuition. My multiple intuitions sometimes battle it out, but I mean, every day, am working on skills to help them get along better and to achieve that balance. And then maybe one day someone else will manage me and I won't have to think about it that hard.
Super groovy, yo. What did you think of Chicken Man?
Chicken Man?
Yeah.
Who is Chicken Man?
TikTok?
TikTok Chicken Man?
Michael, it's Chicken Man, your manager. Our fucking stockholders are fucking furious. Box Set Playbook needs to get the fucking tracks done.
Who is it?
It's fucking Chicken Man, your manager here at Box Set Playbook Studios.
Huh?
Right, we got work to do, boy.
What?
Fucking Chicken Man, let's go. We got these tracks to get done. Get up here, get up here, get up, get up.
Call Jimmy at Universal Studios.
Get the Chicken Man manager.
I have no idea who the Chicken Man is.
Would you ever consider booking a show with Carter Ward?
Carter Ward?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You heard it here
I
first.
like Carter Ward.
That's
I
cool.
think I sang on. Did I sing on a Carter Ward song? I'm 97% sure this was Carter Ward. Someone put a thing on Instagram that was like, do you want to sing in my thing? I'm having a lot of people singing and then it's going to sound like a bunch of people singing together. And I was like, yes, I like you. I like your music. I will do this. And I sent it to them. So maybe I will be on the next Carter Ward release.
Right on. You heard it here first. What? Well, we kind of dabbled into this, but what does motivate you presently to write?
I don't know. I think right now is a really difficult time for me to write because I'm working on an album that already exists. And then I have all these other songs that don't fit in the album that I need to do something with. So I'm like, really, brain? You should not do any writing right now. And instead you should do more recording your music and putting it into the world. But I am a writer and my brain really wants to write. So the last 2 times that I've sat down and written, I sat down to write because I was moved by something. Like the last song I wrote on guitar was, I had all these ideas. I write a lot when I'm on tour. I write down little ideas, little seeds that might grow into something. And then every now and then I'll just have this burst of inspiration. I sit down with all my seeds and I, spend all this energy growing them really fast into little plants. And then at the end of the, songwriting process, I have like a beautiful little garden of all my seeds and what they grew up to be. And the last time I did that, I was on tour and I was staying in my parents' lake house in Lake Village, Arkansas. And it was just a really rough landing. Like I showed up and the people who had stayed there last had kind of trashed it. And so I spent like 2 hours cleaning it. And then it still smelled horrible. And I found there was a dead raccoon in the wall. So then I called my step grandpa, my step grandma's new husband. And he came and cut it out of the wall and dragged it off into the woods. And as the sun was setting and he was just walking into the horizon with a raccoon carcass in his hand, I was like, in my head, I was just like, this is fucking crazy. I need to sit down and write a song right now.
Sleep.
Yeah.
Exercise. Entertainment. Doctor's orders. Sobriety. Sleep.
Yeah.
Exercise. Entertainment? I don't know what the other E is. Doctor's orders.
I don't know.
And sobriety. Seeds.
Yeah.
That's a lovely story.
Thank you.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
When you were talking about seeds, it was just that acronym for mental health. Like to be
I haven't even
aware,
heard that one.
Seeds. Check in with, sleep.
Wow.
Exercise.
What's the other E? Entertainment. What's the D?
Is it entertainment? Doctor's orders.
Doctor's orders.
Sobriety.
Oh, that's great.
Another one that's good is like halt. Halt.
Yeah.
Hungry? Angry? No, not me.
Lonely?
Tired? Hungry, angry, lonely,
I know
tired.
Dear Man. That's one that I have.
Dear Man is a great one.
Sylvia loves Dear Man.
Intricate, though. That one's tough
It's a very long one to remember.
It's tough to get down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Carter Ward and you might play a show at some point.
Yeah. Somebody make it happen.
What advice do you, just have for artists, out there just starting out?
Yeah. Be brave and be gentle with yourself, because there's nothing better than being in a room with someone who loves themselves and loves what they're doing and feels happy to be present and happy to share it. Those kinds of people have been some of the most inspiring to me on my artistic journey. And I really, really just love this quote that's played at the beginning of a Slint song. I don't remember the name of the song, but he goes, whenever you're playing, you can play it however you want. I'm like misquoting it, but the idea is play it however you want, play it sloppy as you want, as long as it's good and there's passion. And that's what I think that if you believe in what you're making and you're passionate about it, that it doesn't really matter if it's good or what other people think. Just, being someone who's happy with yourself and who can be brave and who can be vulnerable and who can share that
Sometimes you gotta
thing.
keep it gutter.
Yeah.
You gotta keep it real. And
Right.
the rawness and the authenticity, but also visceral, very moving and dynamic emotional range and awareness you have. It's beautiful.
Thank
It's really
you.
rock and roll, and I truly love everything you're doing.
I appreciate it.
Thrash, folk,
Thrash,
alternative
folk.
thrash, whatever you want to chalk it up to be,
Yeah.
is really beautiful. And the environment and the atmosphere and world you've created, it's great. And so I hope to catch shows. With that said, do you have any shows coming up? Anything lined up for the rest of the year from here?
Yes. So I have a show at the Ramova Theater on Friday, April 10th. This might come out after that. But yeah, it's at the Ramova Theater Loft. And then I also have a show on the 25th of April at Collider with Persian Cowboy and Mike Molitor.
Woo!
And then I think after that, my next show won't be until May 3rd, when my full band is coming home from a Weekender tour. So my full band will be playing at Record Breakers on May 3rd at 2 p.m.
Yo!
You heard it here first.
That's super.
I'm excited. Very excited.
Thank you for
Yeah.
doing this. And
Thank you for having
seriously
me.
appreciate everything
This was
you're
awesome.
paving and creating.
Paving.
Keep fucking going.
I will. Thank you.
Always, y'all.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace, love, rock and roll, always. And everyone, keep creating, keep going. Be fierce out there. Love you.